They were the beating hearts of Australian industry, monuments of steel and sweat where legends were born. From the Valiants of Tonsley to the Falcons of Geelong, these factories didn't just build cars, they built a nation's identity. But now they stand as hollowed-out ruins, their assembly lines silent, their stories buried under layers of rust and reinvention. This is the untold saga of Australia's abandoned car factories. Some have been reborn as innovation hubs, their pasts whitewashed by progress. Others rot in obscurity, hiding toxic legacies and forgotten triumphs. We're uncovering the rise and fall of 6 industrial titans, the pride, the betrayals, and the ghosts left behind in the sheet metal. By the end of this journey, you'll never look at an empty lot or a Made in Australia badge the same way again, because these places, they weren't just factories. They were the soul of a country that once built its own future, one roaring engine at a time. Number 6. Tonsley Park, South Australia. The Tonsley Park factory in Clovelly Park, Adelaide, opened in 1964 as Chrysler Australia's central manufacturing plant. Designed as a modern, sprawling complex, it became a vital hub for Chrysler's local production of cars like the Valiant. At its peak, the plant employed over 5,000 workers and played a massive role in South Australia's economy. When Mitsubishi Motors took over Chrysler's Australian operations in 1980, the plant continued as a stronghold of production. Now for Mitsubishi-badged vehicles like the Magna and Verada, Tonsley even produced the locally developed Mitsubishi 380, a last-ditch effort to revive Australian manufacturing. However, the 380 failed to meet sales targets, and production ceased by 2008, marking the end of large-scale car manufacturing in South Australia. Today, the Tonsley site has been transformed into the Tonsley Innovation District, focusing on advanced manufacturing, education, and clean tech. It's one of the most successful redevelopments of an automotive site in Australia, yet the echoes of clanging presses and Valiant engines still linger beneath its sleek new facade. Number 5. Ford Geelong Assembly Plant, Victoria. Ford's Geelong facility in Victoria wasn't just an assembly line, it was a historical landmark. Opened in 1925, it was Ford's first manufacturing plant in Australia. With the iconic Model T rolling off the line, the Geelong plant set the tone for the company's deep-rooted presence in Australian automotive culture. Over the decades, the Geelong plant expanded significantly, producing engines, transmissions, and entire vehicles. It was instrumental in building the legendary Falcon and the Barra inline-6 engine, both symbols of Australian motoring strength. During the 1960s and 70s, it played a key role in Ford's racing development programs, with parts and technology developed at Geelong contributing to the brand's motorsport legacy. Despite its heritage and strategic importance, Ford announced in 2013 that it would end local production, citing rising costs and declining competitiveness. The Geelong plant officially shut down in 2016. Though portions of the site remain under Ford ownership for spare parts and R&D, most of the assembly functions are gone, and large parts of the facility have been demolished. Geelong's economy has gradually transitioned toward health, education, and advanced manufacturing sectors. Still, many locals remember the pride of working at the Ford. For nearly a century, this plant was the heartbeat of the town. Number 4. British Leyland, BMC Zetland plant, New South Wales. Built in the late 1950s, the British Motor Corporation plant in Zetland, Sydney, was a cornerstone of the UK's export strategy to the Commonwealth. The sprawling complex produced Austin, Morris, and later Leyland vehicles, including the Mini and the infamous Leyland P76. At its height, the Zetland plant was a cutting-edge facility, boasting state-of-the-art assembly lines and employing thousands. It introduced modern manufacturing practices like just-in-time inventory, long before they became mainstream. Despite this, by the 1970s, the site, now under British Leyland Australia, was struggling with quality issues, financial mismanagement, and intense competition from Japanese automakers. The P76, a large sedan meant to rival Holden and Ford offerings, was launched with high hopes but ultimately flopped due to reliability problems and poor timing amid the global oil crisis. The Zetland plant shut down in 1975, and its closure marked the end of British car manufacturing on such a scale in Australia. Today, the site has been redeveloped into Victoria Park, a high-density residential and commercial precinct. Street names like Defiance Road and Leyland Gardens serve as subtle reminders of its industrial past. Number 3. Ford Eagle Farm Assembly Plant, Queensland. Ford's assembly operations in Eagle Farm, Brisbane began in the 1950s. initially assembling imported kits into locally sold vehicles. As demand for locally manufactured vehicles grew, so did the plant's capacity. Though not as historically significant as Broadmeadows or Geelong, Eagle Farm played a key role in Ford's Queensland operations. It focused heavily on assembly and distribution, servicing the northern half of the country. Vehicles such as the Falcon and Fairlane were regularly shipped out of this facility. In the 1980s, it even assembled a limited number of commercial vehicles for fleet use, including police and government cars. The Eagle Farm plant gradually scaled back operations during the 1990s and eventually ceased vehicle assembly entirely. By the 2000s, the site was sold off and repurposed for industrial use, with G. James Glass and Aluminium among the new tenants. Very little remains of the old Ford buildings, yet for thousands of workers and regional dealerships, Eagle Farm was once the front line of Ford's promise to Australia's tropical north. Number 2. Holden Pagewood Plant, New South Wales. Located in Sydney's eastern suburbs, the Holden Pagewood plant opened in 1958 and quickly became one of GMH's most important production sites. It churned out models like the EH, HR, and Tarana for a growing, car-hungry Australian middle class. During the 1970s, the Pagewood facility was at its peak, employing over 2,500 workers and contributing significantly to the local economy. The plant was notable for its focus on sedan and compact car production, with some limited exports to New Zealand and Southeast Asia. However, the rise of more efficient plants like Elizabeth and Dandenong made Pagewood less competitive. In 1981, Holden shut down the plant. The closure was a major blow to the area, and many families were left without work. Eventually, the site was redeveloped into a commercial hub with warehouses and retail outlets. In a bizarre twist, it also became a filming location for Australian productions, including the ABC drama Pine Gap. Despite the concrete and retail parks now occupying the space, memories of Aussie muscle and chrome still echo through the streets around Pagewood. Number 1. Volkswagen, Nissan Clayton Plant, Victoria. The Clayton plant is a curious case of global automakers sharing one legacy. Originally built by Volkswagen Australia in 1957, it was a significant site for Beetle and Combi production. At a time when made in Australia Volkswagens were a novelty, Clayton represented a serious investment in local assembly. By the late 1960s, the market shifted and Volkswagen sold the plant to Nissan. Nissan Australia used Clayton to build Bluebirds, Skylines, and even some Patrols. It became one of Nissan's key operations in the Southern Hemisphere. The plant was also involved in early trials of local component manufacturing, aiming to meet Australian content requirements. However, the Australian car market became more liberalized in the 1980s and 1990s, making it difficult for local production to remain cost-effective. Nissan ceased manufacturing at Clayton in 1992. Today, the facility no longer assembles cars, although some automotive suppliers still operate nearby. It's a testament to a time when global car giants believed in building vehicles on Aussie soil. And the rise and fall of this factory mirrors the ambitions and struggles of international brands adapting to local demands. Ghosts in the sheet metal. These 6 sites represent far more than bricks and conveyor belts. They were lifelines for workers, arenas of engineering innovation, and symbols of Australia's place in the global automotive story. Each closure left a scar, not just economically but emotionally, on the communities that grew around them. In some cases, like Tonsley, the ruins have found a new lease on life, repurposed into hubs of innovation. Others remain shells or have been wiped clean for modern real estate. Yet for those who once walked their halls or bought the cars they birthed, the memories endure. As Australia transitions to a service-based and tech-forward economy, these abandoned factories remind us of a time when Aussie made meant something tangible, roaring, and distinctly our own. If these abandoned factories sent chills down your spine, smash that like button. It's the only way to keep their stories alive. And subscribe, because Australia's industrial graveyards still have secrets to spill. Who knows which forgotten ruin we'll uncover next? Stay tuned.